We've had another question come in from the Discord. If you guys want to have your questions answered on the show, make sure that you get involved in the Discord, which is linked in the description. Mojo Jojo 93 says that the Mavs fans are panicking after the loss against the Lakers. Many of them want Jason Kidd to be fired. What do you guys think? Now, after that loss, Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer came out and said that the Mavs had bad defense, bad depth, and a bad coach. They're not serious contenders. BJ, I want to know from your perspective, what are your thoughts on the Mavericks? Do they need to make a change at that head coaching position, or what do they need to do to turn themselves into a contending team? Because they've now got two of the best guards in the entire NBA on their roster.
Okay. I just want to stay consistent. You need talent and you need depth. Okay. They traded away their best defensive player. Okay, Mo? And the kid.
Dorian Finney-Smith.
Okay. When you're, I don't know. It just seems so obvious to me that it's not okay. So the easiest thing is we're going to blame somebody. No, it's not Jason Kidd. Okay. It's not Coach Kidd. Why? It's because Mo, we just said here in the last segment, we need depth, which they just traded away their depth. All right. They just traded away their best defensive player. And we know in this league, right, you need depth and you need talent. But with that depth and talent, you got to defend, you have to rebound, and you have to share the basketball. Now, when I look at this team and the way it's been constructed, Mo, it's been a hodgepodge from the get-go.
I love that phrase. I didn't expect to hear that. A hodgepodge.
It's been kind of, it's just, it's like we're just doing things, right? We're going to just bring Kyrie in, and then what do we expect? And we're going to bring this guy in, and then we're going to take this guy out. And okay, now, roster construction is a skill, Mo. It's a skill. It matters. Yes. I know no one talks about it. I know it's more fun. However, I feel an enormous responsibility. To share with our listeners the absolute truth and give them the entire picture of what this league is all about. You can't win in this league without defense. You can't win in this league without rebounding. You can't win in this league without depth. You can't win in this league when, they've probably played, I don't even think they've played 10 games together. Talking about Kyrie.
Not yet.
So, Mo, this isn't, and I know it's fun to do, right? It's fun to like, oh man, I got to blame somebody. Well, I got Kyrie and I got this guy. Well, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work. So, I'm going to sum it up by saying this. If this experiment is really going to work, talking about Kyrie and
Luka.
Okay. If it's really going to work, we're not going to find that out till next year. Why?
Yeah.
These guys haven't practiced together. They don't really know. We don't really know how to use these guys together. You got two guys who both need the ball. See, the key when you're putting together these teams is there's only one ball. Kyrie needs that ball. Luka, as great as he is, he needs the ball. Well, if they both need the ball, how are you going to construct a team where two guys need the ball?
Yep.
Mo,
I hear
it. And Mo, you're not practicing now. Mm-hmm. Your play calling is very limited. Why? Because I got to make the game as simple as I possibly can for both of these guys. I don't know who's their best defensive player is, but I know it's not Luka or Kyrie. Okay.
Yep.
I know it's not those two guys. I know it's not those two. No disrespect, but I know it's not those two guys. Your bigs, how you going to play with these guys? Because you can't have a post up. Why? Because you need the lanes open so that those guys can beat Kyrie and Luka. But that probably means you probably won't have any shot blocking on the other end because, How you going to play with your shooters? Well, your shooters are probably 9 times out of 10 aren't your best defensive players. So, Mo, all of this is going, as I'm watching, I'm going, they're just probably playing on talent right now, which is, let's keep the game real simple. Put those guys and try to stagger their minutes where they can both have the ball in at least for 24, 25 minutes a night, depending on who has it going between Kyrie and what's the name. And then you put other players around them. So the Jason Kidd and his staff are very limited what they can do.
Well, I think the worry from a lot of Mavs fans is some of the quotes from Jason Kidd. For example, he came out after the Lakers lost and he said, or actually before the Lakers lost, I think, he said, "I'm not the savior. I'm not playing. I'm just watching. As a team, we need to mature. We need to grow up," which is very similar to what he used to say whenever the Milwaukee Bucks used to lose when he was coaching them. So I think that's the reason why, Mavs fans are not happy, because of Jason Kidd's response to the bad play from his team and having the excuse of we're a young team, we're immature, when that's not actually the case.
Well, okay, that's not the case. However, it is the case when you keep changing the roster. Like, what do you want him to do right now? What do you want him to do? Defensively, what do you want him to do with this roster? What can he do? He doesn't have, we all know in this league, defensively, 2 things has to happen. 1, you got to have a rim protector. Or 2, you have to be able to defend on the perimeter by switching or having multiple defenders who can defend on the perimeter. Because 3-point shooting is a real thing. When I say it's a real thing, Mo, you have to defend the 3-point line. Okay. He doesn't have either one. So what do you want him to do? Like, I'm just being honest here. I'm not like blaming anyone. I'm just calling it like it is.
You're right in the sense that we're not going to figure it out till next year. But
exactly,
Kyrie Irving is not guaranteed to stay in Dallas next year. He's a free agent this summer. And if it's looking promising, management. So the management is to blame rather than the coaching staff or the players. Anyone,
listen.
Well, the fans are always looking for someone to blame.
Yeah, that's fine. But here's the truth. The truth of it is, when you have an opportunity, like you just saw with Kevin Durant, when you have an opportunity to get talent, okay, I'll say it again. You need depth and you need talent. Kyrie Irving is as great of a talent as you can get. You got to do what you got to do to get him. However, when you get the talent, then you have to figure out the next part, how to get enough talent or players, and I refer to it as depth around him to complement the talent. Well, Mo, you trade somebody at the trade deadline, it's impossible to do that. Okay. So the fans can say whatever they want to say. You can do whatever you want to do, and we can blame whoever we want to blame. You have an opportunity to get Kyrie, you get him. And then you live with that and say, okay, now once the summer comes and free agency and the draft and all the things that you can add to this group, now you're talking. You got to get Kyrie. You got to do what you got to do. I can't fault them for not getting Kyrie. But right now I'm saying, okay, now we're seeing the gaps in their team. Mo, they should feel bad for losing a 27-point lead. But Mo, you and I both know, and our fan base knows, you can't win in this league without defending. Who thinks that the Dallas Mavericks are a good defensive team right now? Raise your hand.
The good news for the Mavericks is that Maxi Kleber is returning. So he adds a defensive presence. He can block some shots. And on offense, as you said, he doesn't need post-ups. He spaces the floor as a shooter. So that should help them. But we're only going to be able to tell. I really do hope that they can keep winning and make it to the playoffs, because we spoke about this yesterday. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic in the playoffs, that's must-see TV.